Today we'll be making a obby game where you jump over posts that'll disappear. So the first thing we're going to do is go to new, select new, and go to obby. Now this isn't required, but like I thought it would be easier if we did an obby because it already has like checkpoints and stuff. You don't really have to worry about coding these too much right now. Right now, all I want to do is you can go ahead and just like select all of this over here and just hit delete on your keyboard. We really only need this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a game basically where they have to jump across and the parts are going to turn transparent and disappear on a timer, so it makes it harder. And this is basically what we were just doing last time, but with a bigger like application of it. So we're going to make one script and then duplicate it because that's a lot easier than like adding scripts to all of them and like pasting the scripts. That'd just be annoying. So we'll rename the part that was selected. We'll rename it like actually, it doesn't really matter because we're gonna it won't actually matter what the name is. You can name it whatever you'd like. Script. So we're gonna add a script to it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a variable for part called local part, which makes sense, but we're not gonna be doing like game.workspace.part, how normally you would do it. We're gonna just be doing script.parent. And I don't know if I went over this in the last tutorial, but script.parent is basically the parent of this script, and the parent of this script is the part because this is the parent of this. Because this is under this parent, so that makes it the parent. I made a video on the last video towards the end. I covered that a little bit more in detail. So we're gonna do local part equals script.parent. So now we have the part that we want to change the properties of. So first we'll just experiment. Like, what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to change the transparency. So we'll select it and we'll put it to like 0.5, right? And we also want people to like fall through it when it turns transparent, not just have it turn transparent. So we can go to can collide here and disable that. And then now players can't collide with it, so they'll basically fall right through it. So now it'll be transparent and we'll fall through it. On second thought, let's try to make that a little bit more transparent. Let's set it to like 0. Oh, my bad. It's this way, yeah. We'll do like 0.75. Now this is like our goal settings. Right now we're going to have it stuck at 0 and can collide on normally, but we want to know what to set it to, so that's why I did that. So we'll do part.transparency is equal to 0.75. Part.canCollide is equal to false, which unchecks can collide. And now we get the same exact effect, but it's through a script this time instead of manually changing it. If you see in the workspace, it has 0 transparency and can collide is on, and this is disabling it. But this isn't really what we want to do. Like, what we're trying to do is make it like toggle between being on and off, because it's no fun if it's just always off. So what we could do here is actually use a loop. It's called a while loop. So what a while loop does, I'll light it out, while. Basically, while any condition that we specify is true, it'll do this line of code infinitely. So let's say if we said while part do, that would basically mean while this part exists and like is found by the script, it'll do this code. You can also do like while 1 + 1 = 2. Well, it actually is equal to. You don't need to worry about that too much right now, but when you're checking if something is equal to something, opposed to like setting it equal to something, you actually use 2. Don't have to worry about that too much right now if you don't get it, because we're going to be talking about that when we do checks. But this basically means if while 1 + 1 = 2, do this line of code. And this will basically repeat forever, because a while loop, when it gets to the bottom, so when it's up here, it'll read this and read this, and if it gets to the bottom, it'll check again. It'll go back up here and see if this is still true. And if it is, it'll repeat it again. So if we were to run this, it would actually repeat forever. Before you run that, though, it may crash your game, because if you do a while loop in Roblox without like a pause in between, it'll actually like overload the script and it'll break. So you can just add like a wait, which just pauses the script for a little bit, and it should work. And yeah, it changed it transparent. So, but it's actually transparent. Oh wait, here, let me put this out so it makes more sense. We'll do print. Hold on. Hi. Okay, now as you can see, yeah, it's printing hi constantly. So a way we can use this to make it, we could do something like while 1 + 1 = 2 do for sure, and then it'll repeat forever, which is what we want, because we're gonna want it to basically repeat forever on a timer, toggling like between being on and off. That's what we're doing for this part. But most people just do while true do. Now true is actually a keyword that it means true. So if you say while true do, it's gonna check if true is equal to true. And of course true is equal to true, because it's literally true. So it's the same as like writing this, while true is equal to true do. It's always gonna be equal to true, but it's shortened to while true do. So it'll repeat this code forever. So we're gonna want it to wait a little bit longer though to toggle. So we'll do we'll do that, and then we'll just repeat this, right? And then we'll do this, but we'll make the transparency 0, and we'll turn can collide back on. So you might think, now that we've done this, it's going to keep repeating, and it's going to become transparent, and you can fall through it. Then it's going to wait a second. Then it's going to like become back to normal, and then it's going to repeat. So every second it's going to change. But this is actually a common mistake. It's not going to change, and I've made this mistake a lot as a beginner personally, so I just wanted to like address it in this. Make sure you add a wait after both, because like I said, the script will keep repeating this part. If there's no wait here, so if there's no wait, then it'll do this, right? It'll change it to being transparent. Then it'll wait a second. It'll make it back to normal for a like literally like a millisecond, but it's gonna repeat with no pause in between, and it's gonna overwrite it. So it was being changed back to normal, but we couldn't see it because of how fast it was. So we need to add a wait after this one as well. And now it should be on a 1 second timer, switching on and off. So this will just make your obby a little bit more challenging. So now we can go ahead, let's not clone it yet. So to make this obby a little challenging, you know, it's not really fun if all the parts are just gonna flick on and off at the same rate. That's not really fun. So wouldn't it be cool if we like generated a random number maybe for it to wait through? So it could be like, it could wait 1 second or 2 seconds or 3 seconds, you don't know. Well, we actually can do that. So we can use a function called math.random. My bad, you don't know what functions are yet. Don't worry about it. This one is built into Lua. Don't worry about it too much. It's just, if you type math.random, it'll generate a random number for you. So you don't really need to know like too much about the details of this right now. I'll cover this later, like functions and stuff. But what this does is it'll generate a random number between the first thing you set and the second. So if I did math.random 1 through 1, it would just be 1 every time. If I did 1 through 2, it would be either 1 or 2. If I did 1 through 10, it would be a random number between 1 and 10. So what we're going to do is through 1 through 3. Now it'll be random number between 1 through 3. So let's do that for the other weight as well. And now it'll just be like a lot less predictable. You don't really know when it's going to change. So now it'll just be changing at like random intervals basically. And that just makes your obby like much more challenging. Wait, hold on, wait, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it is randomized. Am I? Yeah, it's randomized for sure. That one was definitely longer. So now that we have that, we can just go ahead and select move. You don't have to do this, but recommended. Control D, and that'll duplicate it. Just do that. Do that again. Do that one more time. And bam, you have an obby. So now it has like these cool obstacle bricks, and at first when like it first loads, they are gonna be at like the same pace, which is kind of unfortunate. But as the game like starts, it'll that'll fix itself. Okay, so let's try to do it. Oh god, I miscalculated. See, it's pretty hard because it's completely randomized. But this is a good little exercise for beginners to do because it kind of not only does it introduce this while loop, which is really useful to know, but on top of that, you learn about math.random, and you can kind of apply this to your game. There's a lot of games that you might do something like this, right? But in the next tutorial, we'll actually be learning about events and how to make it so maybe if like a player touches a part, it turns transparent. Like if someone runs into a door, it opens, like something like that. I mean, it wouldn't actually open. We're just going to make it transparent so they can walk through, but it'll be pretty cool. We can also make a brick that kills someone later on. It'll be a lot of fun.